Hello, Internet. Welcome to the stream. It's D&D night again. And I will turn it over to our DM.
Again. Welcome to the campaign where we talk about things and nothing actually happens. It's Fantasia time. Does anyone remember what happened last time, which was some time ago in real life?
Death and destruction, mostly.
Rather a lot of killing.
Yes, but why?
But also a lot of resurrecting men.
Yes, 2 people decided not to be dead anymore.
The doctor managed to save her family.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. The doctor's family, or at least their souls and or minds, are tucked away in your intelligence elemental companion until such time as you can have the spare minute to put them in bodies. Delight's soul is no longer chained to Belial.
Yeah. True.
Same for her sister.
Yeah. Her sister is no longer trying to kill you all.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Great relief.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We saved the Empress from her poisoners.
You have saved Empress Umberfang of Tuscar from her own bodyguards. And as soon as Zephyr stops concentrating on the maze spell you used to send her away from the Nightwalker ambush, you get to decide whether or not she gets to keep being Empress of Tuscar. Because one of you has already claimed to be Emperor of Tuscar. Because sometimes the best way to defeat a coup is to coup even harder. So currently,
like it's a bad thing.
Make a better coup with blackjack and hookers.
Yes. So currently, Grom's fiancée, mother, and future mother-in-law are just waiting upstairs with the very wounded Imperial consort, Black Mole, and have just very tacitly is probably not the right word I want there, because it's a word that I only know the definition of through context as opposed to what the word actually means, but have made it very clear that hey, with them, if the one emperor that comes out of the basement is Grom. Do we have any recollection of the sort of broader situation?
I'm fairly certain that there was something about an alien species landing and offering the use of ships.
Yes. And you did receive a sending from Caligulork saying, hey, there's an alien here. They want to talk to you. They appear to have ships.
Mm-hmm.
Which could come in handy if you ever want to go to space.
Just in case that desire is there.
I mean, it may not come up. It hasn't so far.
I don't anticipate that it'll come up.
No. So I guess the question is there anything you all would like to do before Maze runs out?
No for Zephyr. And I feel like it's very little time.
Let's see. Spell slots for healing. What do we got?
A maze is up to 10 minutes. So you've got another 9.5 minutes.
I mean, doesn't necessarily rely on the maze part, more just a thing that has to happen. Is everyone damaged right now? That could just pop up.
Menev and Revenue are both... I mean, Revenue is technically damaged.
Yeah, okay. I guess I'm looking at them now. I could have just done that. I forget sometimes if the game has all the stat bars or not.
This one should.
This one does, so it's good. And I realized I could have known that. Okay, better question. Who's most hurt? Me and Casalda. I got 5 sorcery points.
Well,
Doc
don't.
also be able to heal by
Plus-
himself.
Mhm.
Plus, your
What?
Hanzo charges can become sorcery points.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
But yes, the 2 primary healers were the ones that died.
That is, that was a tough spot to be in for a second there.
That was almost entirely on purpose.
I'm just gonna cast Cure Wounds twice.
Fair.
Make
I'm
the
gonna
numbers
cast,
go up.
Death ward on myself. This seems appropriate. I took 3 points of damage and immediately.
Immediately cast Death Ward on yourself. Yeah, that's fair.
Have 13 health, Crystal.
Position be healed for 13, which should get you up to 44 if I can do math.
Sounds good. So I'm up to 44 out of 100 something.
Mm-hmm.
So we're both around half,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, we also might need to do
That's been a
cast
while.
spells later, so I'm gonna not burn everything I got.
Y'all have had a hard day.
Oh, hasn't already done that.
It's been a bit of a day.
That's why I'm not using up all my spells, because it's still daytime.
Fair.
I say the day is not over.
Where did they say these ships currently are?
They did not specify where the ships were.
Somewhere in Tuskar, or just that we heard from a person of Tuskar?
The Ligurk, the platinum orc, the guy whose simulacrum you destroyed earlier today, and who, thanks to a lot of public speaking, is all on board with the Emperor Grom train, because that's the way the winds are blowing. He sent a message to Grom saying, "Hey, there's an alien called Aznable here. They want to talk to you. They say they have ships."
We shall speak to this ass nipple.
Okay, but do they have mechs?
That is unknown.
His name is Aznable, and he's from space.
Eventually, we got to the recognizable name that I've been drawing all of the Venthu names from.
Nice.
Like, this is, I think, the 8th or 9th Gundam character name I've used for the Venthu.
I'm not enough of a nerd to have clocked it till you went for the big
I can't remember
one.
regular people's names, let alone Gundam.
It didn't. I mean,
Your brain is too full of 40k names, probably.
yeah.
Not really. I don't
Fair
remember
enough.
those names either.
They're
It's
usually
Alex
goofy and
Space
don't matter
Yeah.
as much as what the person did.
But Captain Yumi had heard of this ass nipple before.
Yeah.
So you're pretty sure they're part of the sort of general untethered Venthu rebel alliance.
Yeah, those brave Venthu that are just raw dogging reality without.
Yeah, pretty much. The ones without backups. They're on Iron Man. So you don't know where the ships are or what sort of ships they are. Just someone wants to talk to you. They seem to have ships. You can respond to Caligula work if you have sort of directions, but that may be a response to make after the rule of the country is sorted out. So we've done some healing. Is there anything else we want to do before Maze ends?
Can't remember if there was any looting to be done.
I suppose Tacitus's corpse is here. So if you want some, actually, I think I actually have him statted out. Let me see here.
Oh yeah, I guess there were the flesh puppets of guards or whatever, weren't there?
Well, they weren't initially flesh puppets, but their physical forms were consumed by the fleshwalkers using them as gates, and the fleshwalkers themselves don't leave behind much. If you want some exotic Shadowfell essence,
Yes, please.
you could have 6 of those.
Doctor?
Doctor?
Doctor,
And science!
Says
Oh, no.
shovel. Scooping essence of Shadowfell into
All right.
concentrated Shadowfell essence into jars.
if you'd like me to make me a medicine check on salvaging Shadowfell essence.
So, forgot what my minimum is now.
I think the minimum you can roll on the die is 15 plus whatever your bonus is.
I'm pretty sure it's plus 11, but let me double check because it's been a hot minute since I've looked at Casaldac sheet. Medicine.
Medici.
Was a plus 12.
PC.
I rolled a 15 on the die, too.
Oh no.
So,
You rolled your minimum.
I
I'm
rolled a minimum.
surprised.
Practically a natural one.
So that is a 27. Pew, pew, pew.
What would you like to be? What from the Nightwalker stat block would you like to be able to replicate?
Oh, gosh.
There's
The
that.
one where they never can come back from death. And then we use it on Girin.
That's smart.
True.
Except that two of us did, I guess, is the problem with that theory.
Wish spell can undo it. So
Wish spell can undo it.
Yeah,
And,
but still,
thereby forcing him to make more wishes and have a higher chance of never being able to wish for anything again. It's
true.
brilliant. It's a foolproof plan.
yeah.
Also, our two characters had positive connections to like other entities in the world. And that is what kept us from immediately going to full on death.
Mhm.
Gearing does not have that.
Kieran has no friends.
But he
Yeah.
has the
doesn't have-
capacity to possess a wish scroll, though, unfortunately.
Not when he's dead.
Well, yeah. He
You'd have to-
has minions and copies with a wish scroll, too, probably.
Mm.
He probably has like a dozen. Honestly, if I were him, I would have a dozen copies, so...
Only a dozen. How
At least,
conservative.
I would start with a dozen, maybe. Just because it's a fun word.
It is a fun word. So yeah, there's the annihilating aura, which is the sort of auto necrotic damage to people within 30 feet of you. There's the life eater, which is the old, if they're reduced to 0 hit points, they're dead except for wish. There's the finger of doom, which potentially frightens and paralyzes folks. You can distill any of these things down into a nice, lovely potion or injectable.
a tasty elixir.
Yeah, or weapon oil, I suppose.
Yes.
You have
I
6.
like the idea of being able to put up another aura. The thing that I worry about with it
Mhm.
is friendly fire.
Mhm. If you wanted to, because you do have 6 doses of Nightwalker goo to work with, you could spend one of those goos inoculating the rest of the group from the aura.
Okay.
And the aura itself would not be permanent. You'd chug a potion, have it for an
Yeah.
hour or so.
Still, Like, that is the reason that Kasaldak went down, is because she got caught in like 3 auras.
Yeah, no, overlapping.
A death
no.
aura? A succulent Chinese death aura?
Overlapping no save. Overlapping only save for half 66 necrotic damage will kill a lot of things.
Yeah.
Fairly quickly.
Yeah,
At that.
it
So
is necrotic damage though.
it is, which is not.
You're good.
I'm just curious about, does Kasaldak have anything in her repertoire that would allow her to also change the damage type?
Ooh. You have
Well,
science on your side.
You have your blood.
This is true.
You have Grom's blood.
You have my blood. You have everybody's blood.
You see, there's certainly enough of Grom's blood splattered about everywhere.
So I think that would be her like plan of attack with this stuff, is use a dose or two to figure out how to change the damage type so that it's not something that Garen's probably resistant to.
Mm-hmm.
And then use a dose to inoculate party members,
Mm-hmm.
and then have like 3 or 4 doses to be able to be used.
Mm-hmm. You've got 9 minutes. You can probably whip up the inoculation part now. You're probably going to want a little bit more time than 9 minutes for figuring out how to swap the damage type around. But
Yeah.
we can go ahead and roll dice about it.
We can roll dice about it. I'm not planning on her actually doing that before whatever this next encounter is. She just has the materials and has an idea of what she wants to do with them.
Yeah, which is important. But never hurts to roll dice while you're thinking about something.
This is true.
Is there?
I mean, we could even drop it off in the forge.
Not the plane so that it's not available to get
Right.
fucked with.
True.
Probably.
Can't affect
Forge.
us. Can't be looted. Can't be stolen.
That seems like a good
And
idea.
probably already has exotic materials needing storage like that. So
Also, if Kasaldak, because I know initially we'd said that the intellect familiar thing had to stay within a certain distance of her.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a safe spot that it can get put into in the pocket plane forge, even if Kasaldak leaves? Or not?
Nothing like that exists currently, but that is a thing that could be built.
A docking mount for the intelligence.
Yeah.
Roomba
Yeah.
needs to recharge.
You could build like a little matrix of leadership thing to put it into, or could have built. You could ask Nobu or Karn to build one, but you would need to roll high on persuasion to get Karn to work on anything other than what he's currently working on.
Yeah.
Nobu would probably be more tractable though. So you could have one built, but it doesn't currently exist.
Yeah.
But I have also said multiple times that the intelligence elemental only exists when we think about it.
That's
So
true.
we don't have to worry about it getting absolutely obliterated, because otherwise it would have died in this last fight with all the auras of death.
Yes, that's true.
So it's more a magic item than a creature.
it didn't know it was supposed to die.
Exactly. But it is carrying more precious cargo now, so it makes a lot of sense to
Safeguard.
reinforce it a bit.
Must make safe until family has bodies.
Mm-hmm. Although, I mean, you wanna roll me another mad science check?
Sure. Mad science.
Mad science.
Oh, we're good at making bodies around here.
Which is medicine, so we're gonna go with her minimum because that was less than a 15.
Mm-hmm.
So 27.
Okay. And this might be the part of you that you recently reabsorbed, but I mean, there's bodies. all around. Like, Grom's brain is not that impressive.
Rude.
You could put someone else in there. Like, it would take a little bit of thinking about, but these people trust you, and you could absolutely put Voth or Lipan in an injectable hypospray and say, it's time for your shots, and just wipe someone's soul clean.
Or just do it to someone else, too.
Yeah. You could do it to someone else, too, but these are the people that are available.
Yeah.
So, there are options. You may not choose to take them, but there are options.
I don't.
Hanzo thinks you should turn them into swords.
Also true. Swords, very popular body shape these days.
I'm thinking more. We were talking about the fact that last time of there being a mech that's being built,
There is.
which seems
Yeah.
very much up Voth's alley.
Yeah,
Voth would be very happy about that.
we can absolutely put the family in the Sun Mech.
You just do a Ghost in the Shell
Some
style.
mech
Put
would be
a
fucking fun.
just make like a brain case with a soul in it and stick that, different attachments.
Yeah,
But
the
Sun mech will be filled with sun.
SON Mech. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Excellent.
Whereas I kind of think Lipan, it makes more sense at the moment for him to go more Android type deal.
Mm. So
Interesting.
just build a Warforged and put the husband in it.
I
Yep.
mean, it's a start.
Does the Dr. Kasaldak have something against iPhones? Like, why Android specifically?
Versatility.
iPhones suck, bro. They're overpriced pieces of crap. I mean,
Okay.
they're good. They just cost a lot of money.
Okay.
The doctor prefers the dongle on the Android.
All right. So some
The Android lasts longer, and you don't have to buy a special cable for them.
So
Yep.
we accomplished some mad science. We have some things to think about doing. We certainly have access to other substances that deal damage that we can try to synthesize with the Shadowfell essence, but we're going to want some time to do that.
Did you want me to roll for that now, though?
I'm thinking about it now, so let's go ahead and roll for it now, so I don't have to remember what my current thoughts are. Is there a particular damage type you want it to deal?
Grom deals psychic damage.
That is the least resisted kind of damage.
But in this campaign, potentially.
I say
Yeah.
we have seen the enemy resist psychic damage
Um,
before.
Githyanki are resistant to psychic damage.
Like, in
Ah.
terms of
Most
the
of them.
number of creatures that exist in D&D, it's the
I
least
say,
resistant.
if you wish to employ Grom's blood as your substance to mix this with, not that I'm advocating for this, but in order, Grom's juice essentially is dealing fire, lightning, frost, psychic, force, or radiant damage.
Force could be good.
Force is a good choice, usually.
Grom's blood is essentially radioactive at this point.
Does Kasaldak have an idea?
Dynasty's going to have a hell of a bloodline.
Sleeping with him might cause.
Sorry.
The Mad Doctor is asking a question. What? Yeah.
There are two potential very useful places for adding an aura into combat.
Mm-hmm.
One is fighting Girin, which she is fucking pissed at Girin, so that's probably her first priority.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever she believes he would be most likely to be less resistant to. The other would be there are bound to be on the path to Girin many different versions of the enemy.
Mm-hmm.
And choosing a damage type that will be harmful to them.
So you are aware that the enemy absorbs radiant damage and is immune to necrotics and psychic.
Yep.
Your recently reclaimed piece of soul is aware that Girin's current body,
Mm-hmm.
which you already know he is in the process of upgrading.
Yeah.
So this may not continue to be true going forward, but currently he's resistant to psychic, radiant, and poison.
Okay. So of the options that we have, the one that seems the least likely to become a resistance and the most likely to be useful would be force.
Yes.
So that is what she would go for.
Okay. How much of Grom's blood would you like to take?
I knew I wasn't going to like this part.
The more you take, the easier it will be.
Well, also, you're not making it now, right? You're just
Yeah.
planning it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the doctor is like, as much as the least ethical parts of themselves have like readjoined.
Mm-hmm.
I
You're
think that
primarily an ethical person.
she's primarily ethical, so she would ask, like, "This is what I am attempting to do.
Mm-hmm.
Here are the potential risks.
Mm-hmm.
Give me."
And you want how much of my blood exactly?
So for every 10 hit points of his maximum HP,
Ooh.
he loses for that day. For whenever you yoink it,
Decide to do it.
I will reduce the DC by 1.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And what's Grom's max HP?
So we can make the DC 0.
Grom's maximum HP is 276.
I will. If you kill him, it will not reduce the DC to 0.
Good to know. Good to know.
220 hit points seems fair.
Good thing we only need 10. The DC to be 10, right? Or what's the number we need to hit?
The DC needs to be 27 because her minimum roll is a 15 and her modifier is a plus 12.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so really,
So, I think Kasaldak would not want to bring Grom's max, even for a day, in case something happens,
Mm-hmm.
below 150. So,
Okay. So how much?
Big spender with someone else's hit points.
yeah.
He'll be fine. I would have gone
I
75.
mean, look at the maximum health of everyone else.
yeah, that's gonna keep him safe from like
And the fact that
plus some more damage.
the fact that you would still survive better than most of us with half of your health
So how
is
much
kind of funny.
How much are you asking for?
We're just doing it now.
Let's just ask for around 100 hit points.
Okay. So we'll actually do the health reduction when you actually do the work.
Yep.
Right now we're just rolling dice and notating how many hit points Grom is willing to sacrifice for that day. So, Grom, the request is 100. How many are you willing to give?
40.
Okay.
Okay.
It's like room
Make
to
a note of
negotiate.
that. Either negotiate or make a note of it. One of the two.
That is
If,
good.
if we're haggling, I'm starting my bid at 30.
I've come to bargain.
No, 40 is fine.
Okay.
40
We're
is
all
worth.
happy. We're all happy with 40. Write down 40 Grom max HP for whenever you do that. And make me a mad science check.
Hey, Seth. Hey, Mint Lavender. Good to see y'all. Thanks for coming out.
the more you succeed by will affect the DC to save for half, will potentially have it overcome damage resistance, and potentially can change the damage value of the dice.
Okay. So that wasn't a terrible roll, but it was not above 15. So we're going with that 27.
27 plus 4 is 31.
Yes.
So you can do it. And you will not lose or gain anything on the DC. So it's a DC 21 Constitution saving throw. And we'll bump it to 6d8 force damage. So
We need more blood.
Fuck you.
and it is a 30-foot aura.
I just cough up some blood. Will this help?
I mean, if you wanted to do fire damage, the light would help.
Have the staff bring the racks.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I do a lot of spicy damage types too, but a lot of them are not useful against our enemy.
You know what the other answer to this is? Greater Restoration?
Yeah, that does fix loss of max HP.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you
If you are willing to greater restoration, Grom is willing to give you more blood.
240.
If you
Do
if you
this
bring this
right
up
now.
in negotiations,
Oh yeah, 100%. I didn't think of it until just this moment.
Grom is willing to go as high as 80.
Now you're thinking like a mad scientist.
Okay.
So we're adding another +4 to our result, is what I'm hearing?
What if I offer a death ward?
You'll get your full 100. We're fine. Add the other +6 makes it 37.
I mean, Greater Restoration doesn't have a limit on the max hit points it can restore.
That is true.
Oh god.
Take him to 1 HP. Let's go.
We almost had him.
I'm just pointing out, presumably you will be in a safe place when you're doing this.
Yeah. It doesn't feel good.
You don't want to add a +27 to this check?
No.
At least you're not dead
I'll add
and only
+20
able to
this
come back
check.
with a wish.
If we're doing this in a safe place and I'm being promised greater restoration, we'll add a +20 to this check, and Grom will be sitting there like this, while the doctor is holding a vial of blood that is glowing.
It's just like this scene in Indiana Jones when the guy ages, but like it cuts right before he turns into a skeleton and explodes.
So the setup is there's this conversation held. Dr. Kasoldak, in the middle of this conversation, pulls out her components for greater restoration. It's like, after we take your blood, I can use these components to restore you back to your typical. It's not a good idea to do this often.
No, we're never doing this again. I'm offering you this one-time deal. I will let you take 20 units of my blood if you fix me immediately. But
and don't worry, Grom, if you die on the table, the Immortal Skulls would love to have you.
if I die on this table, I don't put it past Tigris to kill all of you. It might take him the next 20 years, but he'll do it. Do you have something very robust for holding my somewhat precious blood at this point?
Your dynastic legacy.
It's not so much that. That's obviously a thing. But I've seen me bleed. I've seen me bleed quite a lot. It glows and melts stone.
So, what I'm hearing is, instead of adding +4 to the 27 that was rolled, you're adding +20.
Yes.
Okay.
I am
Damage.
aiding and abetting this.
Yeah, that's some mad fucking
There is
science.
there is no longer a save for half, and the damage ignores damage resistance and damage immunity. So it really doesn't matter what type of damage it is anymore. It just happens.
Okay.
Oh yeah. We did it.
Grom just sprawled on the table.
As you're sort of pumping blood out of Grom, it does occur to you that this aura could also be used in a curative way if you, now that you figured out how to like bend the type of damage, and you've already got the party inoculated, so you can key the positive benefits of the aura to just them.
So what you're saying is that it could almost become a what's it called? The spell that does both. Wither and Bloom. Because Wither and Bloom
it would be
Well,
yeah.
Is it
It
more
would-
like you're brewing a potion and you can either make a heal one or a hurt one?
That's where my brain was going, but you could try to combine those two. It would be very difficult. But you
That's
could
some-
do either, and you've still got 5 doses of the stuff because you only used 1 for the inoculation. So you can make a continual heal aura, or you can make this continual Grom's blood formula. Just a thought
Okay.
with all the mad science going around.
Okay.
Although Wither and Bloom does exist, so yeah. If you wanted to spend some of your own blood, you could try to make it do both.
If it went down to, if it halves the number of dice, so 3d8, put it Wither and Bloom.
Yes.
Okay.
With your current success in mad science, I'm very happy just to make that true. So 3d8 unpreventable damage to villains, 3d8
Unpreventable healing.
unpreventable healing to specifically the members of the party that have gotten the inoculation jab.
Okay.
And this all procs when people start within the aura or move into it for the first time. That whole shebang.
Okay. See if I can actually understand what this means later. How is it like we drop this and then it lasts for a fight or for 2 rounds or?
I would. My brain was thinking an hour.
Okay.
If you would like it to last longer.
I am good with an hour.
Okay. An hour is essentially an infinite amount of time as far as combat goes.
Yes. Okay. And it's a potion that you take.
Mm-hmm. So Dr. Soldak spends 9 minutes brainstorming some mad science to do the next time you all take a long rest in a safe place.
Okay. If I reduce it down to 4 doses, can I have inoculation for if we happen to have either new party member or NPC that we're taking with?
You don't have to reduce your doses. You can that 6th dose will just serve as inoculation for
It's a row of vials.
a convenient number of people.
Okay.
They're just after using it on the group, there's not enough of it left to do anything else mad science with, but there is still enough of it to inoculate more people as necessary. A narratively convenient number of inoculation doses remain.
Thank you. That's what I was basically willing to sacrifice a dose for was narratively convenient.
Yeah,
But
no, we'll tie that into the first dose cost. Although back in the old days, I absolutely would have been a dick about this. So it's a reasonable question.
okay.
Anything else we want to do before Emperor Bowl?
I am good.
All right.
How about get a bowl of popcorn? No.
Okay. Zephyr stops concentrating on Maze to think about popcorn. And the raft and the incapacitated Empress return to the prime material plane as you all stand in this sort of ancient Tuscaran health spa, breathing these very soothing, moist sort of vapors. The simple raft and the semi-conscious form of Empress Rowena returned the material plane, floating right in front of you. What would you like to do? You are aware that for the past several days since the asteroid was dropped on home, she has been on the receiving end of a Dusk Runner interrogation technique of inflicting as much pain and suffering on the body as possible so that the soul is less and less willing to be brought back to life, which generates quite a bit of strain and stress on the mind and the memory and the conscious and all those sort of links between your immortal soul and your body. So she's in a not great spot. She's not currently dead, but she's also not currently fully conscious either.
Doctor, do you think you could wake her up, please?
Crystal ran dishes upstairs. She'll be back down in a second.
The doctor is too busy thinking about science.
I'm sure the doctor would drop.
In that case, Delight, if you'd be so kind.
Okay. I just flap over. What's a good heal? I'll just do a.
I think good enough is what we're.
Just gonna do a mass healing word because enough people have missing health. That's not the right die. Okay, 8 health, everybody. Wait, how many people does that apply to? 7, I think. So we can leave out revenue probably.
Oh.
6 creatures of your choice.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Wait.
I'm fine to sit this one out.
I mean, I really don't need
4, 5, 6. Okay. We can do
throwing 5 hit points away.
Empress, me, Zephyr, Doctor. I guess Captain Yumi. Yeah.
I guess Captain Yumi.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then Minev.
All right. Everybody feels a bit better. And the Empress's sort of slightly frantic closed eye motions calm. She takes one long, deep breath. Stands up.
Hi.
And begins to
wave.
cast a spell, but immediately stops upon the high end wave.
It's okay. I might look a little bit like someone from hell, but I'm actually just a tiefling, and you're fine.
You are a reborn tiefling.
Yeah.
I know 2 of you.
Yeah.
And then she will notice Tacitus's corpse.
He was poisoning you. It was pretty bad.
Do you have evidence of this?
Maybe. Hey, guys.
I believe the doctor had pulled ridiculous medicine to DNA sample and scans, if I remember correctly.
You do have some Star Trek evidence of blood work, yes.
Making her accept that might be different, but...
Yes,
what
there
about,
there was also his rather public suicide upon accusation, but
I'm kind of
I had a
spicily psychic now.
Hmm?
Can I, like, project... Well, no, I guess it could be an illusion then, too. If I project an image of my experience.
You could do that. Tom, what were you saying?
I think I had a file from Hydro Express on him being compromised, I think.
You did have a file on him being suitable for blackmail.
Right. That's it.
The question is, do we have any sources that she would accept readily that will provide her these pieces of information?
He did like
And did someone else witness that situation, or was it only us party members?
It was only
Yeah, wasn't
it was only us,
In
but he did
despair.
off himself, right?
he did what?
He did off himself though, right?
Yes, he committed the good old
Do we
Tuscarora
have?
seppuku.
Can anyone cast Speak with Dead?
Not today.
Yeah. But Delight would know that such a spell exists, obviously. So, well, maybe we can just ask him to tell us with a spell. At some point, I bet we could figure out a way to prove it.
Let me make this simpler for you. Tell me why you believe this to be true.
Well, all the poison in you was one thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess as a non-heal, well, I don't know if you're a healer. Maybe you don't know about that.
I know quite a bit about poison.
Yeah, you were poisoned.
Yeah, and when we said you poisoned him, her, he committed suicide and turned into a creature along with everybody else as well.
A creature.
Yes. One of death.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, what were they called? Deathwalkers?
Nightwalkers.
I
Night
cast a
walkers.
minor illusion of what they look like.
Yes. So the doctor was kind enough to examine you, identified the poison, identified the only possible vectors. Revenue here has a file indicating that Tacitus was susceptible to blackmail, however circumstantial. Upon execution, upon accusation, he did kill himself, and that prompted the spell that summoned Nightwalkers out of all that remained of the Praetorian Guard.
Would you like to make me a persuasion check?
Sure. I'll give that a go. Oh dear, oh dear. Use this dice. Ooh, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 11.
Well, I add 11 to persuasion, so maybe I can.
Would you like to make me a persuasion
Yeah,
check
okay.
instead?
Yeah.
With advantage from that 11 of assistance from Groff.
Yeah.
She is a caster of some sort, right?
Mm-hmm. Looked pretty arcane. Whatever she was starting to do.
So I rolled a 26. Let's see. And
Okay.
you just said, you just plainly stated what happened, I think.
Yeah.
What would be a thing that's 26 amount of persuasive in this situation? I'm trying to think. Here's what I'll say. Well, no, that won't work either.
I have something that I could use to assist the process, and we could use your roll for potentially.
What you got?
Sergeant Yumi would doesn't quite know the exact mode of address, but will attempt the proper one given his background bits and pieces, and then say, given your obvious arcane abilities, does the lady have any? And then he will give a short list of information extraction, compulsory, basically, is there a way? Is there something she could do? Yumi will offer up, you could
Theories.
force me to tell you the truth. And I will just, we don't have a lot of time to be going through stuff in Yumi's book. So the shortest distance to you trust us is I just let you compulse me, or some equivalent, I don't know, all the different options there would be in 5th edition. There's compulsory effects.
Yeah.
I think there's a couple memory effects in 5th edition.
She completes your list for you of things that she could do. Yes, I could. I don't feel the need to. Quite often, principals do not wake up if they're unconscious and their bodyguard are slaughtered by a hostile force. But I wanted to hear your reasoning, and I find it sufficient. Now.
So I guess part of my 26 was just the fact that I healed her.
Yeah. Her insight is high enough that this was probably going to go okay no matter what happened.
That's good.
You expressed it very well.
We would have had to really mess things up.
She's a smart cookie.
If you had gone with the 11, I would have had to change my plan for the day considerably.
You don't be an empress without having some complexity.
You don't be an empress and former head of the Tuscaran CIA, or whatever the Dusk Runners are more appropriately analogous to. Because I think they're more
CIA.
Okay, I couldn't remember if the CIA were competent enough. Is really the question.
Depends on the day.
So, my bodyguards are dead. I have been indisposed for some time, and I see the Imperial axe in the hands of the formerly disgraced, I see, member of the Ironhide clan. What are we doing here, Grom?
We're making a decision.
And how would you like that decision to go?
Do you know, I've been thinking about that for most of the walk down here once we ran into Blackmaw.
What feels like months.
It say moments that stretched like weeks.
Feels like a Dragon Ball Z story arc.
I'm not sure I wanted this. Now that I have it, I find that I am compelled to use it.
Now that you have the power, you feel you can no longer trust someone else to wield it as well as you could.
To go where I need to go and do what I need to do. However, In doing so, I made an agreement with the Platinum Orc.
Hard to avoid, isn't he?
It's so very hard to avoid. And that is a weight that I would seek to counterbalance.
Mm.
So I would make an offer. There have been 5 occasions in the history of Tuscar where 2 or more claimed the title of Emperor, Empress, or in one particular case, Grand Poobah. 4 of them ended in civil war. One ended somewhat differently, when one agreed to become the other's trusted advisor. And I can think of no more effective counterweight to the influence of the Platinum Orc than possibly the most dangerous orc to ever sit on the volcanic throne. I make no illusion. I make no promises. I am going to war. I am going to war with the stars.
At mention
And
of the stars, her gaze will sort of drift from you to Captain Yumi and the doctor, and then back to you. I see.
I would offer you the place as seneschal and advisor to the emperor. And if I die, well, it's an easy step sideways.
You do not lack for courtesy, I'll give you that. You do
I'm
not
well
lack
brought up.
You do not lack for strength, I can see that. And if old Orc Augustus gave you the axe, then a better judge of character than I has deemed you worthy. There's one flaw in your plan, though. I have something better to do than be your advisor. Something that I should have done years ago and had ripped from my mind.
Whoa.
So, but because of the strain of what I have been through lately, I now know. So I will be your advisor for the next few minutes. I will tell you what I suggest you do, and then I will leave.
And here I stood, full of grand ideas and offers. It turns out I've already done something. Have I set you free to do what you really want to do?
I have been an empress for many years, and as you are beginning to understand, it is a weight. I have been emperor first for decades. A time ago, I was a mother first, and it is time for me to be one again. I have a son. I have a son to find, Emperor.
Then Viscountess Umberfang, mother of the nation, I would take your few minutes of advice, and I would bid ye farewell. Find you your son.
You are correct. The Platinum Orc does need counterbalancing. But the old worm... What is the best way to put this? He loves our country. He loves Tuscar. The idea of it fills him with pride. We are, in effect, his horde. And it blinds him so much. he does not need. He needs to believe that he is a threat to the throne. He is not. So, in order to appeal to his vanity, it is best to put a very obvious and threatening guard on him. Dress it up as a high honor, so that the people will think that it's part of the deal that you struck to become emperor. But he and you will know that it is a dagger at his throat. I'm leaving Black Mole behind, and he will need something to do and someone to take his anger out upon. I suggest you make him the Platinum Orc's strong right hand.
Now we're talking.
Grom has a grin that includes far too many teeth.
The Empress will also then list out very specific, like, economic and social things to be aware of. Senators that, if they're still alive, need careful watching. Strategic reserves that can be deployed to offset the damage that has likely been done.
The locations of the secret archives and all of that.
Yeah. She recommends that you leave Tigress's mother in her
Lady
her
Stone
position.
Spear, yeah.
Leave Lady Stone Spear in charge of the Dusk Runners. You seem to have a good handle on her loyalty.
Just a smidge.
Just a smidge.
We're kind of doing her a favor. It seems to be on top of the ones we've already done. So
yeah,
good day.
Yeah. Is there any other advice or information you want out of the Empress before she fucks off to the Wild Isle?
If I were to name the new city that I intend to build, which bit would you like named after you?
The bit no one sees.
Done.
Good luck, Imperator.
Viscountess Umberfang, you are always welcome in Tuscar, wherever you seek to go. Though we may not know that you're there.
I was going to say, I know. And she will attempt to teleport.
Counterspell motion.
Okay. Grom, around your head appears a black iron laurel wreath that the Empress had been wearing a few moments ago.
Oh, that's heavy.
Yes, it is.
That is much heavier than it should be. Oh.
Mm-hmm. I think that's probably the primary enchantment on it is that it feels heavier than it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And for something to feel heavy to Grom, it must feel obscenely heavy.
Superman's key.
It can be used as an immovable rod if you ever take it off and put it somewhere, but with the maximum poundage tripled.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. Right? Thus concludes Emperor Ball.
Add the headbutt to your move set.
Headbutt of doom. By the way, Captain, I saw you looking around Tacitus's corpse.
Yeah,
find anything interesting?
+3 longsword, +3 shield, +3 full plate.
And count is interesting.
And an amulet that allows the bearer to always know the location of the laurel wreath now on Grom's head.
Ooh.
Seems like
I know
a accoutrement for a
bodyguard.
Right hand.
I was gonna say tigress, but maybe you don't want that.
I mean, given that it's probably all dressed up, in the royal guard of this country style,
Mhm.
you should probably take the set.
I will take the set of Praetorian bodyguard armor and put it away.
There is also a knife,
Hmm.
the Blade of Despair. It's a plus. Sorry.
Oh, I was just gonna say if no one else needs a shield, that will make my AC become 24.
Go for
Do it.
Take it.
I will lend you this shield, Delight. Absolutely.
This is like a big, heavy rectangle of a shield.
Ooh.
Like this is a big old scutum.
You return it whenever you feel ready.
Wow, I can hide behind this whole thing.
It is massive. It's got a huge spread. Not an eagle, because Umberfang didn't like eagles around. It is a massive raven across the front.
Ooh.
And if you get 3 of them in a row, they do provide cover.
Wow, cool.
But only if you.
I'm gonna yes, and that part of the magic of the shield makes it less heavy.
Sure. Or Delight's pretty swole. One of the two. The power of the two.
Magically swole.
As you're attuning
thank
to, well, you don't have to attune to a shield, but as you're picking up the shield and it's kind of getting used to your aura, the skull that you have on your person that was given to you by the shoe will begin to glow.
Ooh.
Is it what kind of glow?
A
Can I roll
message.
dice? Or...
A message is incoming glow.
Ooh. Does the skull? Okay, yeah, I will. Yeah, I will do the. I will answer the phone, the bat phone.
You are aware that the skull is your
phone.
direct. The skull is your direct line of communication to the shoe himself. So it is a good idea to answer the phone.
Yes.
And
I hope someone picks up that phone,
Huh?
because I fucking called it.
Hi. I hope you're doing good. I hope you had some nice tea. I mean, hi, Delight speaking, emissary of the immortal shoe. How may I help you?
I did indeed have nice tea. Thank you.
I'm
Delight.
sorry, it's just hard for me to stay professional after we've met in person.
That's quite all right. While the people of Shugaze do have a strong sense of propriety, part of enlightenment is knowing when not to take things too seriously. However, I do have a mission for you that does carry a degree of seriousness with it.
Assassinate the
Your-
Emperor of Tuskar.
Your friend Grom will very soon be invited to a summit. You will attend and you will speak for me.
Ooh.
Do you have any questions?
No, makes sense to me.
Very good.
But thank you for the honor. Should I just like go off the cuff, or will you like have more specific instructions at a certain point in the future?
I trust you.
Oh, thanks.
And then the skull's glow will diminish, and there will just be a cup of tea in your hand.
Wow. Hey guys, look, I got tea.
Somehow I do too.
You all have tea.
Well, blessings of the shoe upon us all.
I didn't know they could make porcelain out of bone. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, they've
Never.
been doing it for centuries.
So never turn down tea from another head of state.
You drink the tea?
Yes.
It'd be rude not to.
Okay.
That is
Congratulations.
Zephyr's only, Zephyr does not want to drink the tea. Zephyr recognizes it will be incredibly rude not to.
It would. Those of you who drink the tea may receive the benefits of a full rest. Full, long rest.
Ooh, I'll drink that. But I'm the last.
And also, I think we've all had tea with him before.
Not everyone.
Some
Well,
of
not
us
everybody.
have.
I guess not
Revenue
everybody
hasn't.
That's fair.
I've known you guys for.
For about
I say
2
5
minutes.
minutes. Yeah, 2 minutes.
I say
Well, not
the,
9 minutes because of the
I say.
concentration.
the cables in Grom's neck will start to relax a little bit. So the crown seems slightly less heavy.
Oh, it's still heavy.
It's still very heavy, but he's
Still
better
very
rested now.
Zephyr.
Hey, Marcellus, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by.
Yes.
A thundercloud begins to form over you.
Okay. Is there a way for him to pick this up? Pick up the phone?
You stand still, and a bolt of arcane lightning strikes down from the thundercloud directly onto the crown of your head as you receive a sending direct from the Storm Queen, Ileana, your sovereign, which with much the same message. You are essentially henceforth promoted to Royal Ambassador and Voice of the Queen.
Cool.
But anyway, Tacitus does also have a knife on him, the Blade of Despair. It's a +3 dagger, and can be used as an action. The bearer can end the life of a willing creature.
Oh.
Concerning.
I mean, that's how he died immediately.
This knife has done terrible things.
So, you have an emperor. You have 2 ambassadors.
I'll take the knife.
I'm not surprised.
I will carefully hand the knife to Captain Yumi.
As
Reach a hand up and feel the knotted scar tissue around my throat.
Revenue.
Yes.
Are you officially legal counsel for Zephyr and Grom yet? Or do they still need to sign something? I don't remember if that got...
No, I think they signed. I think they signed the initial papers for that. It's
Yes.
like they have to open their full branch of the. They have to go into the office.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm representing them legally.
With a puff of brimstone, an imp will appear in front of you with a little briefcase with the full color Hydra Express logo on it. Hello.
Hey, Charlie, how's it going?
You know how it is.
Yeah.
And he'll sort of pop the briefcase open, take out a sheaf of papers about this thick. There you go.
Hey, I take out a similar sized one that's just to acknowledge that I've received this stack of papers.
The first 7 pages on this are receipt forms, yes, but
we both have different stamps that we're stamping for each other.
Yep. It takes several minutes.
It looks like a dance on the outside.
In this world, it is a dance.
The golden age of Footloose lives on in Hydra Express bureaucracy.
He's got stamped like in his shoes. Like
people get awards for like most rhythmic stamping.
As we dance to the bureaucracy tango.
I assume you read your papers.
Yeah, I'll flip through 7 pages to the actual content.
Yes. This is a memoranda of declaration from a quorum of the Hydra Express Executive Board, empowering Zephyr and Grom, and by extension you as their legal counsel, to speak on their behalf.
I'm noticing a theme.
with some very specific, like, in these specific scenarios, one of which is in dealings with extraterrestrial folks.
I'll like highlight. I'll like read through it and I'll highlight it to make it so Grom and Zephyr can understand the parameters that they're under for that. I'm like, oh, this is really good. We're moving quickly. Your branch is going to be the largest one in Hydra Express.
What is Revenue's passive bureaucracy?
Well, I mean, so that would be.
I don't know what you want it to be.
Are you talking about int-based bureaucracy or charisma-based bureaucracy?
Well, if intelligence is where I want it to be.
It sounds like it's intelligence-based.
All right, so I mean, that would be. If it's just a save, then it's a 29 would be the passive.
You have a plus 19 to your intelligence.
Oh, yeah, it's my intelligence save. Because of the artificer, you add more for your
Oh,
team.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
sufficient.
so the amount of attunement.
That's sufficient for you to notice that Belial was not part of this quarrel. So whatever you want to take from that.
Gotcha.
Oh.
Good news in this.
You all feel much better from drinking your tea. You have confirmed Grom as Emperor of Tuskar, whether he wants to be or not.
I say Zephyr is ambassador, whether he wants to be or not.
Yep.
Zephyr
Delight.
Yep.
Delight is envoy of the Immortal Shoe.
Mm-hmm.
She definitely wants to be, so we're good there. And the lawyer is now the most important lawyer that ever there was.
You notice he's just slightly taller.
Say, what was O.J. Simpson's lawyer's name? It was a Kardashian, wasn't it?
I think one of them was.
Yeah.
Good.
You're now him.
Great.
All right, if we're quite done dunking on Tom,
I thought of any other lawyer that could have been better than that.
I mean, they are lawyers. So, I mean, there's
true.
it's not really much upper view on that.
Daredevil, that's a good lawyer.
Matt Murdock.
Do you want to be the Matt Murdock of this universe right now?
I don't recommend being Matt Murdock at any point in time.
I mean, Matt Murdock wouldn't be that character if he worked for Hydra, right?
Yeah. Say Matt's a criminal lawyer. Matt's a criminal lawyer. You're a corporate lawyer.
You're
Matt
kidding
Murdock
me.
Got Enron off.
I've
Matt
never done
Murdock
a movie.
I'm sure.
has been possessed by demons before, so he's done some evil things. He took over the hand for a minute, like
No,
he's
that was a demon possessing him doing evil things.
potato.
Clearly.
Being a criminal lawyer is also up to you guys more than anything else.
Yeah, Revenue might become a criminal lawyer. It's really,
Yeah.
really in Grom and Zephyr's hands. So we have solved Emperor Bowl.
Yeah.
Would you like
Yay.
to go talk to a non-binary alien about some spaceships?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have to. Yes.
You don't have to. You can do anything else. But that's what I've prepared for today. So,
Grom will take the 10 minutes that it would take to go have a quiet chat with his mother and
oh yeah.
soon-to-be mother-in-law,
Yeah.
and explain.
When you go back upstairs, Black Maul will salute. Doesn't say anything. He just provides appropriate respect for the office that is now clear upon your head.
I have a job for you. I'd like you to go and be the strong iron gauntlet around the neck of the Platinum Orc.
Black Maul is entirely encased in black plate.
Yes.
And he will incline his head slightly, but you could swear you could hear like the grating of whatever the fuck happened to this 3/4 orc as he smiles.
She did think that you'd enjoy this.
That the whole body goes motionless for a moment at that comment.
Too soon.
Too soon.
And then a salute, and he walks out of the room, which is a breach of protocol because you should probably dismiss him before he is free to leave, but he fucking leaves anyway.
It's remarkably hard to rein him in.
You need to assert dominance right now.
I mean, that's up to you. Do you want to assert dominance right now?
What kind of emperor are you going to be?
Do you know?
As your lawyer, that's my advice.
Yeah, there will be a hand in the middle of his chest. You weren't dismissed.
The helmet turns in your direction. And just looks at you.
And now you may go.
And I can't do his voice justice, but that terrible sort of grinding, like steel on stone that is what's left of Black Maul's voice just says, Ave Imperator. And he will again salute and then depart with the appropriate amount of respect.
Yep. I don't think that I could. I remember writing something about the injuries that have happened to him. No, we don't do that.
No, I can't do that. But you spend some time with Tigress and your mother and mother-in-law to be. Lady Stonespear is fully capable of continuing her role as head of the Dusk Runners. You get the sense she probably expects to have a little bit more latitude since you are not a former Dusk Runner. And she's used to working for the last person to be the head of the Dusk Runners. So in much the same way that Black Maul felt quite willing to leave without saluting, Lady Stonespear is perfectly gracious and respectful, but at some point in the near future, you will probably want to delineate exactly how frequently you want reports from her.
And what those reports might or might not contain.
Yes. She does appear to be ready to be a little bit more independent with the
Yeah, the head of state is suddenly much younger and much less experienced in covert operations.
Yeah. She likes you. She loves you. You make her son happy. You're going to be her son, but she also does not think. She thinks that the IQ in Under the Crown has gone down a few points. So she's also probably right about that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, she's not wrong. She's not malicious about it, but it's going to take a minute to. You're going to need to have a conversation about this at some point. How high a priority that is for you is up to you, but it might come up in the epilogue.
Yeah. So, the kind of thing to sort out before it becomes a problem.
Yes. Tigress is concerned because you have a fucking crown on your head now. And that's... I think Tigress is aware of your general desire just to have gone to college and been a good smart boy. So I think there's some commiseration from your fiance about the state of situation, but he is full of faith in you.
If you hadn't dragged me to all of those parties, forced me to hang out with all of your posh friends, I might not have had the vocabulary to talk myself into this.
I think you give yourself too little credit there.
Probably. This is my fault.
I was going to say it was Marnius's fault. And I mean that in the best possible way.
Oh, he'd be happy to see this.
Yes, he would. And that's a good thing.
He'd probably be worried too.
I'm worried enough for several.
Yeah, no one talks about how heavy this thing is.
Well, only about how many emperors have there been? 10, 12?
You're number 13.
Only so many people know. And I hope it will stay that way.
Yes, I don't intend to be replaced anytime soon.
Mother and I don't intend to let anyone replace you anytime soon.
What a terrifying concept. An emperor whose mother-in-law is head of the Dusk Runners. I can tell I'm never going to get out of dinner with you, ever, if I value my hide.
Would you ever want to?
No, ridiculous.
Not
You
really a
have the
problem.
best. You have the best taste in restaurants.
Yeah. Spend some time there. People are acclimated. Your mother is not surprised by this turn of events and is broadly supportive in a way that only a loving mother figure can be. Because of my relationship with my mother, I can't imagine anyone not being passive aggressive at this point. So I'm not going to try to put words into your mother's mouth, but it's warm and encouraging, and it helps relieve some of the fear about the situation, I think.
I can make a proclamation. We can make those bone lilies that you developed a national flower.
We could. Might be a decision to make after your war is done.
It's not a high priority, I promise.
Good. It shouldn't
Number
be.
2.
So, would you all like to go talk? Would you all like to return to Midasine to talk to Asnipple?
I believe we have an appointment, gentlemen, and of course, ladies. Doctor.
Yes.
Well, Doctor and Captain, what do we know about Asnipple?
I will describe the general state of things as far as I'm aware of them, which I think is basically the stuff everybody outside of the player knowledge wise, I think is just what everybody already knows. So
Asnipple was. Oh, sorry.
Translate that to character knowledge.
Yeah. Asnipple was a great pilot and war hero in the struggle against the enemy until they volunteered to pilot a very experimental, essentially asteroid driving ship, which they used to sort of obliterate a planet that the enemy had landed on. But because of the cover story is that due to the sort of psychic weight of the enemy, the data file of Asnipple's consciousness was corrupted in the process. So unfortunately, they've never been re-sleeved since then, which is the typical sort of thing that the Venthu government say about folks that voluntarily untether themselves and lead a life of rebellion. So they're probably a part of the same organization that Calda and Mercy were running around with in space, which would explain how they know where Fantasia is, because Calda managed to get her ship crash landed here a few days ago. So assuming that Aznabel's following that trail, that would explain why they're here, and they're probably someone who does not want Giran to continue to be Giran. I think that's all the reasonable suppositions that Yumi made last time when we first heard the name.
If they don't want Giran to be alive, then sounds perfectly reasonable to me. I say I think I might like this ass nipple if how do you actually pronounce their name? I'm sorry.
Aznable.
Aznable. Thank you. Sorry.
Shar Aznable.
I think I might like this Aznable if
the Red Comet. No,
say if the Crimson Meteor, as you said their flight name was, is going to help us with rather wrecking Giran's plans, I'm very in support of this.
Mhm.
Besides, I seem to have come into an army that we might want to send to space.
You have begun mobilization. As part of the sending message, the Platinum Orc did provide a teleportation ring insignia or sequence for someplace in the grounds of his home, but probably not the only set of teleportation circles for that Alice complex. Does anyone want to expend the slot to teleportation circle?
Let me. Oh wait, we fully rested. Yes.
If you drank your tea, you've had a full rest.
Then yes.
All right.
What levels?
Light flares, I believe it is a 5th level slot.
Double checking. Yes, teleportation circle, 5th level.
And you find yourselves transported back to Midasine, the city of commerce and wealth, and find yourselves in a well-appointed drawing room with a long table down the center that could hold dozens and dozens of courtiers and lawyers and businessmen, but currently only has 2 other people in it as you materialize. One is the richly appointed half-orc form of Caligulorc with his 2 platinum tusks, who is currently sharing a fine vintage Tuscaran wine with a Githyanki person of indeterminate gender with a facial scar and only 1 working eye, dressed in sort of rakish spacefaring clothes. Think like wide pop 70s collar, but actually just think 70s sci-fi.
I'm on board with this.
I'm imagining the captain from Treasure Planet, but this also works.
The captain's a little too. The captain from Treasure Planet a little too official.
Okay.
A little too formal. So. Because Aznable is a member of a rebel organization.
I'm getting more Bowie vibes.
Goblin King from Labyrinth.
Yes. But space. So a little more aluminum foil in that costume, I think.
Yeah.
And we're in the right spot.
Okay.
Especially on the codpiece, right?
Yeah, I don't really know what the codpiece situation is because this is a non-binary person that doesn't really present necessarily
Yeah.
as masculine. So they probably don't have the bulge.
That is just
Or they
so classic
have even
women
more
men.
bulge to confuse you.
Yeah, it's maybe it's not they don't have the bulge, but I think the bulge is not as apparent. I think we want. If there is a bulge, it's more likely to contain a gun than a penis.
It is a gun.
And they are happy to see you. Upon your arrival, they will set down the wine glass and then step through the table towards you, and their image will kind of distort as they pass through. It appear to be some kind of magical image that can interact with the physical world. The Vinthu might call it a hard light hologram. You are the Emperor?
Appearances to the contrary, yes.
I would like to speak with you.
I am here and I am willing to speak.
I would like to speak with everyone who is responsible for making decisions on this plan. All at once. Much more convenient, much more efficient.
Well, you're in luck.
Oh?
Because
I
a
th-
bunch
I
of us can do that.
I
Oh.
think they might mean they want even more than just us.
Yeah, I'm just saying the odds of this many of us showing up at once, it's got to be helping you out.
Well, we know a meeting's happening soon too.
It is.
So what do we do till everyone else comes?
Oh. I think you mistake form of meeting. But am I to understand more of you can speak for nations than just the Emperor?
Might I make some introductions? Emperor Tiberiork. On my left, just making sure, yes. On my left, legal representation for the Hydra Express. To his left, the royal ambassador to the miracle nation of Araqueth. And Delight, special envoy to the immortal Shu.
Good. Almost the whole set, as they say. And Asnbol will extend their hand towards Grom as though to shake it. Come along.
Gentlemen, ladies, I believe this is the invitation we were told to expect. Consul, I'll see you soon, I hope.
If you don't, coup's back on the menu.
Don't worry.
As you hear the clattering and approaching footsteps of Blackmore from somewhere in the palace.
I say, as two of his guards come flying through, and Blackmall crashes through the door, I've taken steps to ensure it, and I will grab her hand.
Their hand.
Their hand. So sorry. Their
Yes.
hand.
All right. I'm going to move us to the map page for this. Because as you touch at the projection of Asnabol's hand, your vision goes dark for a moment. You are temporarily deaf. You can't smell anything. You don't feel anything. And then there is a holographic representation of Fantasia. And sort of appearing overlaid it is Asnabel. And then over where Farfell sits, a humanoid figure sort of appears. From the sky-kissed peaks, you see Chorus, Calda's brother. From Freland, a mage none of you have met. From Mithril Mountain, the Vault King himself appears. And yeah, just various representatives appear. Some of whom, like Chorus, you recognize because you have met them. Some of whom, like Constantine, King of Farfell, and the Vault King, you recognize because they are known rulers of nations and have been in the papers.
I've seen his head on a coin.
Yeah.
Right.
Some you don't recognize. There's a merfolk woman with all the sort of choral regalia you might expect for someone from Flagfish, but her name and title are not immediately apparent. In the same way, there's a sort of amphibious Yuan-Ti woman who, based entirely on her species and nothing else, you would expect as a representative of Zenthar. And there is a dryad of indeterminate nationality. And also the wizard, you can tell that he's representing Treland because that's where his face appeared from. In the same way you can tell that the dryad is representing Tizim, but who these people are is not immediately obvious. So, as many of you who are important I have gathered, I am pleased that you are willing to speak. As you may have noticed, the Vinthu have killed many of you. Big rocks. All fall, all of you die. That sort of thing. And presumably, you would like this to not happen. I represent a rebel element. We would also like this to not happen, because we have seen it happen thousands of times before. For reasons I do not fully understand, you were not immediately slaughtered. So, I would very much like for any of you willing to do something about your imminent extinction to agree to help me, help you. I have ships. I have locations of interest that would do very well with a sacking. You have disposable bodies. Perhaps we come to agreement. I do not know which of you is the most important and should speak first. At which point, Constantine of Farfell will speak up because he believes himself the most important.
It's like if the president of one country is there and the secretary of state of a different country is there. That president would probably jump in first.
Yeah. I think you'll find, Asnable, was it? That we're not entirely without our own intelligence on the matter. Which is, the planet hasn't been destroyed because the planet has a resource your people want. The eggs of dragons. And it is by use of these dragons that we're already quite capable of striking back. Now that I have encouraged the people of Tharbad to accept me as their Jarl of War, and the volunteer forces arranged there have agreed to serve under my banner, I have the means and the manpower to remove the destroyer in orbit over us and slaughter the Vinthu colony on the moon, which I think will suitably communicate to your people the cost of interfering with my world.
You have no idea the cruelty you're facing.
Don't I?
Our enemy is no more the people of Asnable than you and I, King of Farfell, are of the same people.
Mm.
There are many forces at work. The people of the moon are also a separate society. We must have the wisdom as rulers of this land to sort out the different forces and societies at work. And I realized I forgot to do Delight voice because I was focusing on
That's fine.
the words.
Yeah.
That's okay. I've never done a consistent character voice in my life. You'll notice Chorus nodding along in agreement with you. But the Vault King, upon looking at the lot of you, will get up and interject in a very aggressive dwarven way that none of you should be allowed to speak here, and that if that is the Emperor of Tuscar, then a state of war exists between the Mithril Mountain and Tuscar.
Vault King. Perhaps we can sort that out. 'Cause I intend to wage war on the stars. I don't intend to waste my strength far underground.
Don't worry, we'll come to you. You killed my son. What peace did you imagine there could be?
Your son tried very hard to kill me.
He is a prince of the realm. It is his right.
I am an emperor. It is my right.
You weren't at the time.
I am now. So maybe we can consider that bit even. I have two things that I think you might want.
My left nut and my right nut.
I am prepared to forget the insult of your son attempting to kill me. I am prepared to speak not of his indiscretions that maybe you might be aware of. And I am prepared to return to you both the myth pick and the crown that I don't think he took with permission. And then I am prepared to reach out a hand and continue the agreement and peace that has existed between our countries for decades. But quite frankly, this is not the time for petty squabbling, nor, Constantine, is it time to be trying to build a petty empire. You may be satisfied with this rock that they would bombard to fragments given half a chance. The war is in the stars and is beyond the reach of your dragons. It is beyond the reach of the moon.
And regardless of any internal conflicts, our enemy in the stars remains the same.
The shoe speaks wisdom.
Even if your forces are engaging in separate areas, it's not relevant to this meeting.
I will covertly slide a note to my lawyer. The note reads, "The Dwarven Crown Prince was in league with the Venthu."
The Dwarven Crown Prince was
Deceived.
in league with the Dragon Cult, which was used by the Venthu, but
The Dwarven Prince was a dragon cultist and was used by the Venthu.
Like Revenue will take out like a file of like that's just labeled like atrocities of Dragon Cult, and then he takes like the prince's picture and just like puts it over the front, writes his name. We can tie him to everything.
Grom, would you like to make me a persuasion check at disadvantage?
Disadvantage, absolutely.
In
Where were those-
your attempt to get Mithril Mountain to shut up, so that people can go about their lives.
Oh, that disadvantage is stinging.
Since I said something pretty persuasive, can we flatten the disadvantage? Or is it such a hard thing that even my help even got us here?
Well, it's more a function of the hostility the Mithril Mountain faction has for the group as a whole.
We could put the sun back though, right? Technically, or was his body like desecrated, or?
Oh, his body is resurrectable. He might already have been resurrected, but you still killed him, and that's a terrible insult.
Oh,
Yeah, no, I understand that. He's going to feel a certain way about it. So the lower one is a 19.
Okay.
Whoa. Oh, like
The higher one was a 27. So I'm sitting here going, "Argh."
Can I do a general vibe check of the room?
Sure. Give me a insight.
Specifically, I'm concerned about the possibility of them through interference here.
Mm.
And I'm debating what level of spell I'm
Ooh.
pumping into this room.
So it is worth noting you're not physically in this room.
Right. You're right. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah.
Can I use?
But we see images of people's body language and
Yeah.
whatnot.
Yeah. You got to. It's just that the auto detect Vinthu implants stuff is probably not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, might still not be a bad idea to do later to make sure that our companion here is good to go. But yeah, you're right. I'll just do a roll.
While you're rolling, Tom, what were you saying?
Can I use new artificer level 20? So can I use Flash of Genius on his so it gives him a +6?
Sure.
For his ability, and that's just me handing like photographs of this kid like fucking up in college or something.
Yeah.
Are you adding that to the insight or the persuasion?
The persuasion.
Okay.
So that would bump me up to 25.
Okay. That is a better number than a 19. We will circle back to that once we get the insight number from Jeremiah.
We're at a dirty 20 for that.
Dirty 20. So, what vibes do you want? What do you want to know?
I'm changing the vibe slightly based on the remembrance that we are in fact not in the same room as these people.
Mm-hmm.
My initial thought was, what are any of these? Yes, everyone here, like a lot of the leaders here, are going to be selfish for their own means, but they also all have reasons to hate the Venthu.
Mm-hmm.
I guess what I'm looking for then is the vibe of who's on board with this plan. Can I tell from anyone that they're planning on resisting it because they could be either, for whatever reason, on the Venthu side? Basically, I'm looking for what way the wind is blowing in the room.
You don't get the gist that any of them are Venthu.
Dirty 20, by the way.
Yeah, dirty 20. You don't get the sense that any of them are Vinthu plans, but you're also aware that that's really hard to tell.
Yes.
You suspect that Kiora, the speaker for Flagfish, the Vault King, Thoric Mythic, and the Mage of the Towers from Trelland are all in fairly isolationist frames of mind.
Mm.
The dwarves have an impenetrable mountain to hide under. The people of Flagfish have not been attacked by the Vinthu. And the mages of Trelland have all kinds of wacky magic going on. So those three seem confident in their ability to weather whatever this storm is without need of some grand alliance. You suspect that Tindershoot of Tizim is way out of their depth. It is a sign of how decimated the leadership of Tizim has been that they are here. Zagana from Zinthar appears very angry at the Vinthu, but not very trusting of everyone else here. Chorus is on board with whatever you want to do. He knows that at least some of you are his sister's friends. He's heard enough about the sorts of things you guys got up to in lower levels that he trusts your intentions fully. So Chorus will back you to the end. Constantine is the king of Farfell and is apparently now also the Jarl of War for Tharbad. So he seems to be the most politically savvy person here and is absolutely going to try to get as much advantage out of this as possible.
Mm-hmm.
He is not only here to win the war with the Vinthu, but he is also here to make sure that as much of Fantasia is under his control when the war is done. That's your vibe check of how things are going.
Okay.
Another thing that...
Plus he described wanting to kill all Githyanki people, whether they're from the moon, whether they're good Venthu, whether they're bad Venthu.
Yeah, his proposition was exterminate the ones we can get to with extreme prejudice,
Yeah.
as a warning, which always goes over so well. The Vault King, in response to Grom's attempt to mollify him a bit, bridles quite a bit at the word petty, and goes on a bit of a rant about the spilling of a Prince of the Blood is not petty. But you can sense collectively that he's shifted from the bluster of someone who is just here to say no to the bluster of someone who is here to get as much out of you as possible.
How nice for him.
Yeah. So in his tirade about what is owed to him, as the aggrieved party in this matter, as Sergeant Yumi is typing something. Oh, okay. He just brings up territorial concessions. And yeah, he wants a piece of Tuskar as weregild for killing his son. It's not as though you can. Not as though your people could dwell in the ruins of your capital anymore, whereas my people are hardy and in need of additional space. So I am willing to overlook your violent disregard for my people's sovereignty in exchange for the ruins of home.
I am willing to overlook this last insult. If you retract that statement immediately. And never even darken my ears with such a ridiculous request. I am shocked that you would even make let such a thought cross your mind. Your son, at the very least, fought with honor. Is that how you'd sully his memory? A grubby little land grab. I thought better of you, King of the Dwarves.
We've heard the half-orc whelp yap and yap. He's yet to say anything that isn't an insult. Is there a reason he's here, Asnable? He's been emperor for what, 2 minutes? Perhaps you should only deal with nation-states with stable leadership.
Are you guys still talking territorial concessions?
Yes.
So,
So
maybe you should
I'm
only.
obviously not in the room. But
No,
you do have
you're on the call. Everybody in the
okay.
party's on the
Well,
call.
it wouldn't be my point to speak up for this particular thing anyway, but your lawyer might realize that you might be able to word it in such a way that you're not giving up specific land, just a certain amount of Tuscaran land, and post this whole space war, you could just claim some like moon land and give it to this guy.
True. You could also be like, I won't give you the homeland, but but the principle is sound that blood was spilled, so X different thing of value I will give you. Might be a smart play.
Yeah. The dwarves of Mithril Mountain are big on the Weregild.
And like they're also big on valuable items, of which we have many, a fair few.
Yeah.
Like they put great honor in artifacts. Not just that you're buying them off, kind of.
I mean, you are buying them off, but it's culturally acceptable to do so.
There you go.
Yeah, that's the key.
Yeah, that's the point.
As I recall, Grom was the one to literally kill the prince.
Yeah.
But he was not the only one in combat with the prince. That is still here.
True.
Oh, also, just a side note. What do you would you mind, Caleb, if I just retroactively have cast Rary's telepathic bond so that essentially everyone in the party can mentally talk to each other?
You all can already mentally talk to each other.
Okay. Cool.
Because Captain Yumi is telepathic, and
okay, right.
Someone has aberrant mind sorcerer levels. I think you.
Yeah, at this point it's me.
So
okay, yeah.
So you've got two telepaths.
I just wanted to double check that part.
Y'all can communicate.
I actually have both. I have racial and class telepathy, as well as ritual ability for rare.
The only reason I had that spell, I guess, is because of the subclass anyway. But I guess that's true. You had kind of given it to us just as
if you want to replace that with something else that's appropriate to have as an always readied spell, you can. Because I'm never going to need you to cast it.
Yeah, that's fair. Makes sense.
But yeah, I was assuming that all of your how do we prove things to the Empress conversation was happening mentally as well. So
I have an idea. I've been going through my inventory.
Mm-hmm.
I have an idea.
25 gold coming to
you. Money too. We all have a ton of money.
Money is one thing, but money isn't everything. Grom will lean forward. I would maybe suggest that we listen to people whose ears aren't choked with the dust of ages. But if at this point we're quibbling over a price, Vault King, why settle for land? You're never going to get an inch of Tuscar. That I can promise you.
And what business would dwarves want with protecting a vast swath on the surface? You're doing just
Well,
fine.
there's many mountains. It's a lovely place, but I have something that might belong in your vaults. I've already agreed to return to you the myth pick and the crown. Those are yours. I was merely holding them as your errant son lost them. But now this, I will hold up a shard of the dead god's axe.
Mm.
Perhaps we can agree on a price. Guilt. I killed your son. 'Twas a fair fight. He died with honor, but we can agree on a debt. I hold in my hand a fragment of the blade of a dead god that I put down for permanence. I'll bring a finger against it. Metal I've never seen. Metal maybe to interest the king under the mountain.
And how much are you offering?
The axe was quite large. I'm willing to offer you half of it.
And you can tell that there's something that tickles him about. You killed the son, you killed a god. The Weregild is from the god. Something about that seems to work in his head.
It puts him in league with the gods in a way, or in on their footing.
Yeah.
Say we've worked together a number of times, our countries. That tank your son drove, marvelous machine, wasn't it? Just
Yes.
now, what do you think you could do with something like this?
We could also lower your shipping rates for Hydro Express.
Oh yeah. I was gonna suggest
Could
that
be
before I
quite
forgot it.
lucrative for
I'm
margins.
We also control a major interest in logistics, underground logistics. I wonder if dwarves like that.
15%.
15%.
Sergeant.
Oh.
Sergeant, if we're at a point where I can duck in, are we?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Is that the dwarves specifically?
Not specifically. It might include them, but not
All
specifically.
right, let me
put a
finish this
bow on the
counter offer,
dwarves.
and then we'll circle back to you. 15% Hydro Express deduction, half the axe, the return of my property, and I won't go to war.
With Tuskar.
With
But
Tuskar.
with the stars, yes.
That remains to be seen, but I won't go to war with you. And I'll stop holding up this meeting so that you all can have your pretty little talk. Because as long as I'm here shouting, good luck organizing.
10% reduction in shipping rates, half the axe, the return of your property. And after this is all over, you and I hash out a trade deal between our countries.
Out of the mouth of babes, sometimes something wise comes. Deal.
I had a very good teacher. He'll rub the scar on his neck.
Deal. Now, what did your bug want to say? Cragnus, what's going on?
That was fun.
First of all, I don't know how much time we might have been able to have this conversation preemptively before the talk.
You have telepathy.
You can just do it telepathically. But I didn't know what my lady's stance was on reparations. If we succeed in our lofty goal of seizing the Venthu. Whether or not we unite the Venthu, with the various factions is a separate issue.
Mhm.
I'm specifically talking about the current ones that Giran holds. Whether she thinks that there is any I used the word 2 seconds ago.
Reparations.
Reparations.
That's the word, okay.
Yeah, I think Minev would be very in favor of not undoing, because you can't undo mass murder, but attempting to make good the debt as much as possible. How realistic any of that would be, unknown. Because there's no telling what state the Venthu Society will be in post-Giran. So she probably wouldn't have specifics to offer, but in principle,
but
yes.
my basic point is the more successful, the more overwhelmingly successful, the more we can keep the structure of the overall society intact, the more we don't necessarily just wipe out all the my point being, like, the more we can restrict this to, like, cutting the head off and pulling out the cancer and whatnot, the more the Venthu will then be in a position to offer, like, a lot. Like, there's a lot of stuff the Venthu could do. Like you said, can't undo mass murder, but, like, mineral resources could be brought to the planet pretty easily if they're still in a good position. All sorts of stuff.
Yeah. Advances in medical technology.
Exactly.
Yeah. There's a lot that could be offered if the Venthu as a society continued to function, which is a very good counterpoint to Constantine's "kill them all" plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
And we can definitely. I feel like we can. Like, my line was going to just be the whole. Think of the Venthu as Fantasia, not, Tharbat, or, not like one country, but instead this cluster of peoples.
Yes.
So that lines up well with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I will, launch and, go into a spiel about my people are not currently united. There is this civil, faction back and forth, multiple splinter groups, and we have been co-opted by an evil emperor using, now obviously there's like some techno babble stuff in there, but he will basically say the equivalent of compulsive magics to enslave my people en masse, etc. Well, my basic point is what I was trying to say is that our hope would be that reparations would be a choice that could be made, but is unlikely to be feasible if everything is just destroyed. And the more assistance that is given, the more likely we'll be in a position to repay that assistance and reparations and etc.
Okay.
What would you like me to roll?
I would like you to roll me persuasion. I would like you to have advantage because Delight's previous comments flow well into that, so I feel like she's assisting.
Okay.
The DC is different for each of the people listening to you, so this might be a full-scale success. This might be...
I'll do a flash of genius on you, too, so you get a plus.
Nice.
There you go.
+6. Okay.
Plus
Sounds
6
good.
and advantage.
Guidance.
And a D4, apparently.
All right. That's good. I just double-checking to see if I have any stuff myself here. This is not intelligence-based, so it's not going to be as good.
I'm just
I can
picturing...
also, as a reaction, use
wheel.
Yeah, wheel.
Did we buff the die value of that, or is it still a D6?
I believe so. Let me find it again.
I don't remember what wheel
We
does,
just
but
remembered our
just a bonus.
Voltroning skill check move.
I mean, that the Summit of World Leaders is the time to be doing the Voltroning.
Mm-hmm.
No, in that case, I can use guidance.
all right. So what does the wheel do?
Ooh. I think it's a D10 now.
I believe so. I just have to find it.
Is that a you're using it, or you want to check and see what I'm doing before
I
you?
will use it.
Okay. Okay. So it's like 38 with all those bonuses on top of my own good check. So
Like 38 or
it
38?
is 38.
Okay.
So like, yeah.
You,
Chances are, given the captain's like style, it's probably colder
Mhm.
than maybe some people appreciate, given he's talking about paying people back for the deaths.
Mhm.
But there certainly would be passion about his own people and whatnot, and probably figures and facts about like how much, yada yada yada, destruction on this scale would reduce our capability of yada yada yada, and like things that could be offered in reparations, like just examples dependent on destruction.
Mhm. You get a lot of nods, a lot of affirmation. I think the sort of bluff, I'm a soldier and this is how it is kind of style of Yumi's is a welcome change to a bunch of courtiers. And Pindershoot looks relieved that someone is speaking sense and they can actually understand what is going on.
I could definitely see just like a clear historical record of like these are the things that happened, and then like this political group gained this influence, and like actually painting a really precise picture of like, wow, like there are good guys and bad guys here that we have to like sort out, and the fact that there are Venthu Splinter in this meeting is also a good sign that like
and Sergeant Yumi, depending on question, like presumably this is going on for quite a while, is perfectly willing to field questions about why have you switched sides, like what exactly is this compulsory effect that's happening here, and like, oh, your memories are being modified constantly by your leadership, like.
Yeah,
Constantine is taking notes.
The Mage of the Towers does have a lot of very technical, arcane questions about it. He seems very interested in the technique. The folks
and
from
obviously, I wouldn't necessarily know all the technique stuff, but from the perspective of what I am able to offer.
But that is the
experiences in Araqueth, would also, because we then Zephyr would be another representative with a first-hand account.
Yeah, you've got a lot of information about all this to share. The one thing that the Mage of the Towers engages with, and he has said nothing otherwise in this meeting, is the questions about the compulsion. It's almost as though this all has nothing to do with them, but here's a wacky magic thing. But you can see Zagana's inherent hostility towards Splinter factions of Venthu cooling. You've got Tendershoot on side. Kiora not as swayed by this talk of reparations because their people haven't been hurt. But there is a understanding of this sort of vastness of the galaxy that seems to touch the heart of someone who is used to the vastness of the deep. That seems to make common cause there. And the Vault King loves the talk of reparations. Oh boy, the dwarves like money. And Chorus was already on side. The only one with a counter argument, or a concern, as Constantine will put it, is it doesn't really matter how many different factions of you there are. You threw enormous asteroids from the heavens and decimated our cities. It doesn't matter if some of you regret it and promise never to do it again. You have the capability. We cannot be safe as long as the Venthu as a political and military force exist. Unless we are given some way to counteract.
This is the part that Aaron's been excited about for a while now. Right here, I'm ready. Sergeant Yumi will politely wait for this thing to stop, and he will stand, and he will sort of gesture to himself, gesture to the doctor. The Venthu are not a racial hegemony. There would be, I'm assuming I would have talked to, once again, the lady beforehand. Would she have any problems with, like, the word that that pops into Aaron's nerd mind is Federation style craziness, but
it's not exactly Federation style, but
opening the Venthu to include representatives of this planet and expanding what the Venthu is, etc.
I think,
including leadership and oversight positions, etc., etc., etc.
I think another thing that would be helpful in that process is basically, and probably kind of piggybacking off the giant roll, really, is it's like codifying, instead of just saying they're all Venthu, being like, there's a name for this group and this group and this group, and bringing those definitions to the discussion.
Yeah.
I think makes sense, where it's like, you're right that as long as this group exists, we can't be safe, but this other group can be reasoned with, and this other group, like, has been dealing with Hezron already. So
Sergeant Yumi would be very clear that the guy's concerns are absolutely correct. That the given, like, it is an untenable relationship. We would either have to leave, in which case you have no real guarantee that we don't come back, but that you wouldn't have any guarantee that others wouldn't come either, or a change would have to be implemented in which leadership and oversight positions in the Venthu were opened to, things. And part of that suggestion, once again, Sergeant Yumi would be probably getting pretty passionate about, like, making sure this type of, like, overarching deception and corruption couldn't happen again, and that is something that, like, potentially the people here could, like, the Venthu could directly benefit from that change, because it would bring protection for both sides.
I think Constantine's response to this is a very it was better stated than I can probably put it, because he's a
I'm bouncing
I'm a nerd in sweats. So, what he wants out of this, is he wants some assurance, like concrete assurance, that he specifically will have access to Venthu military technology that could counter the asteroid strike.
Do I know how easy it would be if somebody managed to get an asteroid dropping? How, like, the Venthu going to be able to stop something like that as it drops out of the sky? Like, or is it more about early detection and that kind of stuff?
The upper end of Venthu capital warships could atomize an asteroid of that size.
Okay.
Just like a big cannon in far.
He wants your guns.
Yeah.
Just give him one cannon.
And one opportunity you could have for providing this assurance to this great council would be to give... We are going to have to deal with this Vimthu battleship in orbit. I want it.
Sergeant Yumi would respond again in kind that the concerns are valid, but placing the reactive, like the protective power in the hands of a single nation on the planet would only be transferring the danger.
Yeah.
Yes, to you, good sir, but it would not alleviate the fears of the others at this table.
Well, that leads us nicely to the primary point I would like to make. We cannot engage in a war in the stars in committee. One of us needs to be in command.
Master, you want it so much, I can think of no one less appropriate than you.
I have control over the largest percentage of Fantasia's military power. I rule the Confederation. For the purposes of this war, rule the Confederation of Farfel and Tharbad. I am thousands of years older than anyone at this table. And I am the only one among us with direct access to the draconic mind. I know the memories of the Ur-Dragon. I remember when the Venthu flew dragons to war. There is no one here more qualified to lead us than me.
I picture, well, one, I wanted to mention throughout this process, the way Delight is shown. Basically, her hologram is there, but she's holding up the skull, and the voice that's coming out is hers and Shu's. Thaumaturgically kind of.
Yeah, you speak with the voice of the Shu, literally.
Yeah, and that also helps retroact why I was talking different.
Shu's super old too.
Yeah, you're speaking with the voice of the Shu.
But
because the Shu remembers that stuff too,
right,
doesn't
the
he?
Voice, exactly.
Yeah,
and the voice of the Shu will say, "You have the largest force of living warriors on this planet." If we're going by pure numbers, then Shugaze will lead the way. But I do not believe this is the wisest course.
I personally am a soldier, commanding but few in my time. But even I know much more about the warfare of the stars than any that dwell upon the planet. The ships and machinery are a vital part of this endeavor.
You are welcome to advise.
I propose that we above the Venthu ship in orbit, that's bad guy Venthu owned.
Yes,
right?
that's bad guy Venthu.
And this is an idea we've had as a group for a while, so Delight will propose this ship, like the first step, like the beachhead, so to speak, to the stars will be this ship. And this ship will be owned collectively by Fantasia. I guess a captain would still have to be assigned, but basically that would become like the hub, and there would be representative, like representatives on that hub, and each kingdom would have an equal stake, and the crew would be made up of like a group and a combination. So there would be people from every kingdom that knew about space, would learn about using space vehicles, and
Sergeant Yumi believes that our recently arrived friend with the ships is probably, in terms of intelligence and not like what he, like a military intelligence, and just basically on all fronts is probably gonna be the most capable of executing something like this.
Yeah, but they did open the meeting by calling you all fodder.
Yeah, I think all of us in the party. I think all of us in the party probably believe that's true. That Aznable would be the best, like, basically Space Navy commander. But the problem is no one here really wants that, I think. Or a lot of people here wouldn't really want that.
And
so if you really the question is, how can we make that? How do we sell that?
I mean, it's going to come down to, no matter who is put in charge, it's going to come down to what the treaties and whatnot that get written out, presumably before we even leave the planet, look like.
I think.
So Sergeant Yumi doesn't care if the guy that's on the paper as in charge of the assault is this guy that wants to be in charge of the assault.
Well, I think it actually would probably work. It's going to be a lot of space to cover. So what really can happen is, yes, there's a central command, representatives communicate down their chains of command, but we say, okay, this, like, I think of Warhammer 40K, like this crusade, but obviously that's it's just
just splitting
of that.
Splitting up
this stream is run by this country, etc. They all then can work internally and accomplish specific goals, split apart without having to worry about getting stabbed in the back, sort of.
Yeah.
I think Crystal had something.
Yeah. What was that, Crystal?
I would also propose. She says that the war cannot be run by committee, but the leader of it could be chosen by one.
Certainly, Constantine will agree. That's
my suggestion. Would be that no one can vote for themselves.
Well, that's hardly fitting.
Yeah, we could just trade votes. And Sergeant Yumi a wink across the table.
I mean, if we let people vote for themselves, a bunch of them will, though.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying that in the meeting out loud, but meaning that, like, if we want to win, letting people vote for themselves is potentially the way to do it, but.
But if you want
it to be really democratic, I guess you're right, Crystal.
you all are a block of 3 votes. You've got Araqueth, Shugaze, and Tuskar.
Yeah, fair.
And potentially
and Hydra Express / California. So you're a block of 4 votes, actually.
And Calda's brother too is probably.
And Chorus is going to back you, so you've got 5 votes. So
it's true. If equal, so basically we have to get equal weight given to votes.
Do we have a candidate that we would Grom want to lead it, or Calda?
No.
Immortal Shoe, obviously.
I mean, if we woke Calda up, she would do it.
The Shoe is able to just sort of like move on to live in another undead, right? If his body drops.
Wait, we all vote for Calda to be the Space Admiral.
Is that a thing?
who can move on? Sorry.
The Immortal Shoe, doesn't he like just transition bodies if he needs to? Is that a thing?
No.
That's within his
Maybe.
capability, but the
Okay.
last time you saw him, his body was wounded in the same way that the countryside of Shugaze had been wounded. So he's
Yeah.
pretty tied to the land.
It's
Okay,
complicated.
I don't remember where I got that
Yeah.
from. Though.
Yeah, there's a
I mean,
reason he's not here.
He's a lich, so it makes sense to think.
What
Yeah,
about
I probably am just confusing it with some other random story
Probably.
element.
There've been a lot of people.
Zephyr technically has the like knowledge of more than that Mithril Fart has, like from the seats in his council. Like he has the dragon memories, he has Venvu memories, he has.
If he hadn't purged some of them, yes, he'd be an excellent candidate for this.
What are we?
He didn't tell anyone.
What about what's his face? Our Mr. Demigod of the Forge and
Karn.
Karn. How many do people love Karn everywhere, or is that like more of a specific area?
Tharbad.
Very much Tharbad
Tharbadians.
loves Karn.
Okay.
Which.
Eh. Given that Tharbad is a raiding culture, their pantheon is not exactly popular with the rest of the.
Okay.
Karn's mother is not, as Crystal was trying to point out, is not a bad.
Yeah, last you heard she was in Riverton.
The fact that we have a demigod of Tharbad pal down the line might help with Constantine's influence over Tharbad.
Funnily enough, no, Crystal, your suggestion of Urza,
Yes.
that finds great merit
That's
with me.
amazing. I don't know if that's an easier sell, but that's a good. But I like it.
I say, regardless of the difficulty of the sell, because it is a difficult sell. That is a hard sell. That is a primordial warring being. I do have one problem that I would bring up.
Fish.
Jeremiah, you'd have to give back the sword.
No.
That'd be tough, but I would accept that in exchange for,
He has so many swords.
Yeah,
I do have many wonderful swords.
you already have a really wonderful sword. You'd lose the immovable property and some other stuff, which...
And immunity to all conditions, essentially.
Don't do it, Jeremiah. Don't give it up.
Yeah, I'd recommend hanging on to that sword. But, up to you.
You gave her arm back, didn't you?
Since her arm was severed from her husband, she can reassimilate it now. You don't have to physically take the arm to her. The nice thing about being a demigod is that your meat is optional.
But we facilitated that.
You
so
did.
Where?
You did. And you saved her son from his own hubris. Like you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
And you paid what she charged for rent in Riverton. So
Maybe
Urza
your
has
son-
no complaints with any of you.
Her son can make her a new sword as a gift.
Don't mention that while he's still building your sun armor, or he'll turn that into a sun sword and just give it to his mother. So are you proposing Urza as?
I think Urza will be less of a hard sell than the guy that brought us all here, whose name starts with an A.
Aznable.
Yes.
Aznable.
Aznable. Thank you. I do have something else to point out. If we were to bring Urza into this, Constantine is claiming the title of War Thane of Tharbad.
Yep.
Bringing in a Tharbadian demigod somewhat undercuts that position.
Yes, which is.
We should get her in right now.
If you do mention this, there will be a response. So that's why I'm asking: are you pitching this to the larger council?
Do you know? I kind of want to toss the dice on this one and say yes.
Okay.
I mean, eventually we got to toss the dice.
I'm not speaking for the group. I'm giving my vote.
Sergeant Yumi's only real, like, what's the word? Something in the game or in the
skin in the game.
Skin?
Yeah, his only real skin in the game is like he wants this to be as successful as possible. So people accepting Venthu like support and counsel is almost like a must if it's going to be effective at all.
Mhm.
And the lady to be sort of out of it. Obviously, in his mind, she's the best candidate, but not the right time.
I think.
The one downside of Asnable is that they don't have any idea what the capabilities of Fantasian folks are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, they understand the space war, but they view all of these people as just grist for the mill.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like just that, but the support part of things.
Yeah, Asnable will be a very important. Whoever's in charge should listen to Asnable at all times.
Yeah.
But the Fantasians clearly want a Fantasian in charge.
Does Asnable? Are we aware whether he's aware of the vast exaggeration that the enemy is in reality?
You do not know if they know that.
Okay.
They know enough is wrong to be untethered. But whether or not that also involves whether or not they know that the enemy is under the control of the Venthu government is.
And not as big as was suggested.
Oh no, the enemy is still that big.
I know it's huge. I thought it was like, I thought the Venthu were like basically saying it was everything, everywhere.
Oh no. The size of the Venthu stellar empire is a lot smaller, and I suppose the enemy is smaller than previously thought, but it is still physically encompassing quite a few stars.
Oh yeah, like absolutely.
It is absurdly huge.
Yes.
But it is not half the universe. It's
yeah,
just many star sectors.
Right. Well, at some point, Sergeant Yumi will want to fill him in on some of that stuff.
Yeah, between Yumi and Kasaldak, as some of the like discussion about this happens, could we figure out a way to like secure direct message to him about the things that we know about Giran and the enemy?
To Asnable?
Yeah, to Asnable.
Like right now? Or just in general?
I kind of want to do it now,
Well, no.
but mostly in general.
The two of you could make me I know how Venthu technology works, so I can track this signal back to its source role. That would be difficult. Like, you could send a data packet along it, but like actually making sure that Asnable gets the information, actually getting access to like Asnable's mind and where they physically are, going to be difficult because they've lasted this long by not being easily found.
Yeah.
So you can definitely send them an email.
Sergeant Yumi would probably do that when we have like lunch break or whatever.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to wait till you have time, I won't require a check. But if you want to do it like right now, I need a tech check.
Sergeant Yumi certainly wouldn't be doing it mid conference.
Like, we would have had to do that beforehand.
But obviously the conference isn't going to be solid all the time for however long. So
well, if Urza is brought up as a potential candidate,
which sounds like she is going to be,
y'all's psychic communication suddenly buzzes as a new mind is pushing itself into it.
We said the name and she has come.
No.
Oh.
Constantine has, from thousands of miles away, shoved his brain into your psychic link. What do you want to drop the demigod?
Oh dear.
I want to start a colony on your fallen city.
Look, we know Mythpick can't be trusted. Tendershoot doesn't know what they're doing. The Farfellans and Trellanders don't care. Zagana doesn't trust anything that only breathes air. None of us will accept one of the Venthu as leader here. I am the most qualified, but you clearly aren't going to see that. The immortal Shu isn't bloodthirsty enough to do what needs to be done. So
Sergeant
if-
Yumi will clarify that he does not find him unqualified, just requiring certain like support that he lacks, i.e., that the information on the Venthu and technology and that kind of stuff.
I will swear any oath you like and appoint Aznable or yourself to any position in the hierarchy that you like. I intend to fight a war, and I understand that things have changed since your people had to ride mine to war.
Yours.
But I have no... I will not insult your intelligence by dissembling. I have no intention of bringing a member of the Tharbadian pantheon to the fore of this political scenario when I've only just now achieved the rank of Jarl of War. If this war goes well, I will be able to maneuver the surviving Tharbadian Jarls to acclaim me as the Jarlric Jarl. I will take over Tharbad. Which, as a DM aside, this is what was happening in Tharbad when you decided to go to Tuskar instead. So, I do not want that gain threatened. So I will vote either for your Storm Queen or for your Tuskaran, or I will make whatever guarantees you need to secure your support for me. But let's not bring the gods into this, shall we?
Dance over to victory.
Rev will just hand Grom a note back, and it just shows like balls in a hand.
Because I think you'll find I'm here representing two nations. And if you will support me in the assertion that means I have 2 votes, then we can create an overwhelming majority just amongst us.
Do you know that I didn't think I'd be able to trust you walking into this meeting?
Good, you're not stupid.
No. Now I know that I can trust you. I can trust you to do exactly what is best for you.
What is best for me is someone competent in control of this war. We need a decision before this council ends, otherwise we will be trapped in war by committee and we will lose.
I propose the Bright Wall.
Done.
Agreed.
All right.
So we found the leverage.
Yeah.
By the Bright Wall, are we talking about the
We're
sword?
talking about Zephyr.
Yeah, I think we're talking about Jeremiah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I got my way.
Y'all were nice and quiet. The Emperor is setting forward and bringing down the axe on the Gordian knot.
Technically, it's the Storm Queen, but
Yeah.
she has empowered you to be her voice. So,
She could
I
put
just
any
had a moment where I
individual
was
as
wondering
the actual
if we're
person.
suggesting sending Winzana to space.
I mean, we can send Winzana to space instead, I suppose. But yeah, you come out of this brief telepathic conference that is definitely secret and no one else knows about. Constantine will propose the Storm Queen based on the longevity of her reign, the stability of our quest politics, the fact that her people at her capital city persisted and survived through the asteroid strike, and the sort of general pedigree of the Miracle Nation. He does add the addendum that he essentially proposes that any concrete reparations and the assigning of offices in the new regime of Venthu, and whether or not to declare victory and sort of surrender terms and like several like major decisions, he still wants the Council of Nations, he uses the terminology nations, to vote on. So he wants to put Queen Ileana in charge of the war, but when it comes to getting reparations, dividing, setting up the new government, all that, he wants the Council to revisit it, and he wants
to delineate strategy from policy.
Strategy from policy, and he wants individual nations to have a say in that end council. And he's currently sitting on 2 nations, so he wants to perpetuate his vote lead.
Yeah, which, I mean, certainly Sergeant Yumi, one of his concerns was that he doesn't want one nation to come out on top of this to be able to be like, I get all the reparations and the big ship, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we've effectively shifted his position to neutrality.
Yeah.
Kind of.
I mean, in effect,
more neutral.
Yeah.
In terms of he's not demanding to be in charge because we now have the ripcord we can pull to get rid of half of all of his shit.
Exactly. And he clearly has plans for that shit. If you all are okay with that, then you have a 6 or 7 vote majority.
Zephyr will make an effort, has been quiet up to this point, trying to observe as best he can. He will back up Constantine's assertions that basically the Storm Queen, on behalf of the Storm Queen, giving additional reasons as to, along the lines of, they've already begun studying the enemy's abilities, enemy's technologies.
Yeah.
And can effectively... basically, Zephyr also wants to not just rule by what we have, but get as many people on board with this as he can.
Yeah. Make me a persuasion check with advantage.
Guidance.
With guidance. You are aware that the sort of 3 troublemakers for this deal are going to be Farfell, Mithril Mountain, and Trellant. Troublemaker isn't the right word, but the 3 least likely to buy into this are those 3. Everyone else is already on board. It's this question of how many of those still firmly on the sidelines that you can
I will
pull out.
also give you Omen.
So a D4, a D10, and advantage.
All right.
Voltron.
Nice. 8 and 4 on the. That was not D4. Hold on, I did D6. 3. 8 and 3.
Okay. So
11
so plus whatever you roll.
With advantage, and we're making this a perception check. Or not perception, persuasion check. I was looking at perception and performance. Because there's the same modifier, it's also partially a performance check.
Of course, you got to do the dance.
Got to do the dance.
Dance magic.
11.
Asnable really enjoys that dance for some reason. It's weird. It's super effective on them.
33.
33. Farfell is in. They have good trade relations with Araqueth, and the party's general high rolling has brought Kiora on side. Likewise, the Vault King, because there's money to be made, will also agree to this, despite the tension historically between Mithril Mountain and Araqueth. The only abstention is Trellant, who have not particularly engaged in things throughout and seem largely uninterested.
So they're not outrightly objecting, they're just not... They're abstaining, you say?
They're abstaining. Yeah, they're just... They don't appear convinced of the necessity of the rest of Fantasia. But you have the primary the main continent coalesced under the war leadership of the Storm Queen. Asnable's recommendation is the destruction or capture of the Ventu battleship in orbit, because as long as that's there, they cannot land ships. Their ships will be shot down. So if you want off the planet, that ship needs to be taken down. Asnable has some data and some common strategies for taking Ventu ships that they will share next time, because it's 11 o'clock.
Cool.
Yeah.
They do also share that there are 4 additional Ventu battle cruisers en route to the planet. They don't exactly know. They don't exactly know when they will arrive, but you do recall that Garen threatened the planet tomorrow. Essentially, he gave everyone 2 days to turn you all over, and then you didn't turn you all over.
Mhm.
So it's likely that they will be here tomorrow based on Garen's threats. So speed, important.
Mhm.
But
good thing teleportation exists.
Good thing gate exists. Yes.
Mhm.
So this has been the campaign where we talk politics the whole time.
Yeah.
But fake politics, so it's not terrible.
Well, to be fair, we did spend the first 45 minutes talking about mad science.
Mad science and politics.
Hey, I had fun with politics.
Good.
So.
Yeah.
Next time. Oh, sorry.
Can we just hand wave that we bring Asnabal up to speed about the intelligence stuff? You don't necessarily have to go into those conversations, but he might know all of it for all we know. But
they seem surprised by a few things.
Okay.
But yes, you bring Asmel up to speed. You have the continent of Fantasia on side. I assigned numbers to each nation's military assets that we don't really need to worry about. I don't know if it's fun. If it's fun to know that the combat-capable crew of a Ventu battleship is 60,000, and that the volunteer force gathered in Tharbad is 18,000, and that the Emberline tribe can contribute 500 skilled healers and support mages, and that's about it. I don't know if that granularity is fun for anyone, but
it is there.
It is there if we need it. But yeah, next time we will take over a Star Destroyer. Hopefully.
Sounds good to me.
I assume, but if you have a different route you would like to take things,
nope.
That is okay. I will prepare different things, but I've had interiors for that. I've had attacking the Ventu ship prepared in some way, shape, or form for some time now. So either we'll do that, or the next Ventu thing you attack will look a lot like the interior of a battleship. It's weird. But next week we have Seafaring, I believe, unless anyone has scheduled things in the way.
Nope.
Good.
No, should be back in there.
Good question to ask, but I think everything is good to go.
Nice.
I would like to say that we let Koros know what's going on with Calda too.
That seems like a good idea. He would be very grateful to know that.
Alive, but in stasis.
Alive, but frozen forevermore.
Well, good night, all.
Yeah, but GG, good night.
Good game, everybody.
Have a good week.
All right. So, the time has come to raid. Let's go. Everyone's gonna disappear. Quick, we have to raid. Let's raid Wogger. The orc. They're playing War Thunder. Should be fun. So, yeah, and I've disappeared because I disappeared from the call. But have fun. Hope you had fun. Hope you're able to laugh. And I hope that if anything's weighing on you, it feels a little bit lighter after hanging out online with friends. So until next time, bye.